Hey, you like Lake Guntersville? I actually have a love-hate relationship with Lake Guntersville, which is where we're at. But I got something kind of cool for you. You guys are always into information. Oh, there he is. He's moving around. So I snagged one of the best guides on Lake Guntersville to come and kind of give us a little fishing report. So stay tuned. I think you guys are going to like this. It's going to give you some insights on what you need to be doing as we go through this late spring into summer transition, some tips, techniques, and maybe some funny stuff. So stay tuned. As usual, we got Bog right here, and he is not very happy with me because he's starting to get wet. Northwest Alabama has some fun weather, and that's what we're about to get, so we might have to rush through this video. But I also have the Ryan Salzman with me. He's True Ass owner, guide here on Lake Guntersville, Pickwick, Wilson, basically anywhere you want to go on the TVA in Northwest Alabama. And he's an absolute stick, and he's a fun, nice dude. He's really been kind of a mentor in teaching me some basics about the lake, how to run the lake, how to see the lake, seasonal stuff. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring to you because it's been so helpful to me to get sort of my legs as I start to learn the lake. And I wanted him to kind of share some of those insights with you. We're in that season where we're going from late spring to summer, and a lot of things are happening and can be very intimidating. So Ryan, first let's jump to it. Where can they find you on Instagram and stuff like that?
Instagram is albassguide_meme-lord, and my website is alabamabassguide.com.
You notice Meme Lord, he posts some killer memes. I don't know if he's still going to be doing that, but he has some absolutely hilarious memes on there that you got to check out. So Ryan, let's get down to the brass tacks because we are kind of being chased by this storm. There's a lot going on right now, dude. There's a lot going on in the world, but let's stick with fishing because that's a nice light topic to talk about. And it's something, the beauty of it is, and one thing I'm appreciative about in like Alabama is, dude, we're still fishing. There's a lot of places that haven't been able to fish and stuff like that, but we're able to fish and take advantage of it. So get out, use some of this stuff to get out. But Ryan, what are a couple patterns or maybe a couple things that are going on seasonally right now that people can look at and focus on?
So normally at the end of April, we're transitioning kind of from the spawn. A lot of fish are getting into post spawn, and then the shad spawn starts up. So they'll be in a lot of those transition areas of anywhere 2 to 8 foot with milfoil, eelgrass, hydrilla. However, I think we're right around a week and a half to 2 weeks behind. Like, we had a really warm March, and there was a wave of fish that definitely moved up and spawned, and some already healed and moved out. But I don't think that was like the main major wave. I could be wrong. But I'm seeing a lot of fish pull up currently to spawn. I feel like we're in the heart of the spawn right now, especially as it's going to be warm again Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I feel like there's a big wave moving up as we're speaking in this video. Saw some sight fish today, caught a few sight fish. The big one was definitely on bed, caught it on a frog. And yeah, that's kind of the current situation. We're about a week and a half, 2 weeks behind. So what does that mean? There's a little bit of shad spawn going on in the mornings. That they're baby shad. The main lake shad spawn won't start till probably second week of May, I believe, as long as we're on this weather pattern, you know. So just look for these spawning fish. You just throw your plastics, your beaver style baits, your Senkos around shallow. Have a ChatterBait for in between, you know, going spawning flat to spawning flat. And my favorite trailer for that is a little dipper. Don't throw too big of a bait this time of year, because the shad they're chasing in the back of these pockets is about 3 inches long. And Mikey and I, actually got on, like, he caught some on a spook, I caught some on a little popper. So it's kind of junk fishing, right? And junk is a lot of fun until they get out deep. In that little transition, you're gonna think fishing sucks, because what the fish are doing, they're in like the in-betweens is what I call them. And they're not really shallow and they're not really deep. So where do you find them? You got to get on your electronics and find these like grass bars, river points, you know, isolated grass clumps, mussel bars. And those fish will actually congregate and group up in decent sized pods, but they're a little harder to find. So look for, you know, isolated eelgrass patches, hard bottom places, transitional from deep water to shallow. And that should get you around fish coming from the spawn into post spawn.
So let's do something kind of fun here on real quick. You know, I noticed there were probably like 3 or 4 baits that we used today that like all caught fish, and covered a variety of water columns. What are three, like, because dude, like the reality is I have 4,000 rods. I'm very fortunate, but like a lot of us don't have 4,000 rods. So if we're going out and we only have like a few setups, what's 2 or 3 setups that are going to catch fish, you know, whether they're up on the bank, like we're on this point right here, they're up on the bank, they're spawning, whether they're out a little ways, maybe moving into spawn, or they're already done, or whether they're kind of on their way out. What would you recommend?
Okay, so whether do you have a fish that's moved up shallow to spawn and then leaves, that's fine and all, but there's also a brim spawn that's gonna start, so I kind of left that out. And you're gonna be able to catch fish on this guy. It's a frog, just a black frog. Sometimes they want a white. Today I caught a few on a black, Mikey caught a few on a white. So definitely a frog is gonna be one of them. It's gonna work all the way through the end of May and even beginning of June. So always have the frog on the deck. If you see an isolated patch of grass, whatever, throw that. Right now, this is my bread and butter during the spawn and when they're fry guarding. This is a beaver style bait. This one actually a spicy beaver, and it is a 1/4 ounce Titan tungsten. You can see it has the little T logo right there, and I know how big it is. That's the perfect size for me. 17, 20 pound fluorocarbon, 7.3 medium heavy, not too heavy of a rod, but it gets the job done. All right, and last but not least, I'm going to have some form of a chatterbait for the shad spawn. And you can see the trailer, white trash, Little Dipper. That's my go-to. I've caught so many fish around the country with this. If I had to pick one bait, honestly, it would be this one. Because I could fish them shallow, I could fish it deep. I love my top water bites though, so it's hard to leave that frog at home.
You know, let's break down that chatterbait, because I know I've posted a lot of videos about the chatterbaits, and they've been like super popular, gotten a lot of views, and the reason is it's fun to catch them on a chatterbait. And me and you were actually talking about how versatile a chatterbait is. Like, you can throw it in the dirt, you can throw it for the shad spawn, you can throw it for staging fish, you can throw it for pre-spawn fish, and even with just say like a 1/2 ounce chatterbait, you can fish it anywhere from a foot of water down to like 6-8 feet of water if you really want to. But we did talk kind of a little bit, and this is specific maybe for the TVA, or maybe a better way to put it is like lakes that have shad populations centrally, but do get some coloration and some flow. We were talking about colors. So what are kind of like your 3 basic chatterbait colors? Because we talked about keeping, so me and him were kind of going back and forth about, I have so much tackle in the boat, I try to stay simplistic, but then like Ryan noticed like a chartreuse chatterbait was like the key. He was throwing a white one, and the moment he put a little chartreuse in it, started catching fish. Like, how can we limit our tackle but have what we need when it comes to a chatterbait and like colors?
Right, so I definitely try to keep it simple, but I have a chatterbait box, and I'll pull that out first in a second, kind of show you my generic colors. But it's black and blue, green pumpkin, white, and chartreuse and white. So that's my, there's something about a solid white bait too. Like when they're on that, they're on that. But today, Mikey actually had a custom chatterbait, and he had 2 bites to my none, and we had covered a good bit of water, and he was catching them behind me. I said, two's a pattern for me. So I pulled out the chartreuse and white, and the next fish I caught was like that 4.5. So that right there, that's like my go-to usually, the chartreuse and white, because it's not too bright a chartreuse, and actually the more you throw it, it looks a little bright right now because it's brand new. This will actually fade when it sits on your deck, and it's just a nice profile. And the shad always have a little bit different back color hue, but the water's stained right now. So if you have 2 foot or less visibility, I'm going with that. If it gets greater, in the morning I may go like solid white, and then I might go to like a clear water shad kind of color. And then vary my trailer, I might switch to like a Guntersville shad, but white trash is like my go-to. It works on everything. I can color it up. I can take a black Sharpie, color the back black. I can put chartreuse on the tail, do a lot of different things. So that's how I keep it simplistic in that. Literally, I have a bag of like 100 of those where I took the little packages out and dumped it into a gallon bag. And that is my chatterbait trailer. And the cool thing about it is it lets it hunt. The bigger chatterbait trailer you go, the more stability. Think of this as a rudder. The bigger the rudder, the more it's going to stabilize that head. The skinnier the rudder, the more it's going to allow for instability and let that bait search. So if you went extreme and put a fluke on it, when it kicks, that rudder really shoots it out wide and glides. Now a Zako is interesting because it's kind of like this. It wiggles a little bit, and it kind of has a bulky up front. So it'll hunt a little bit, and it kind of has that S move. So it's a unique trailer. But I'm not a big Zako guy. I just catch a ton of fish on that. Mikey saw me catch some today. Seems to always work. So That's my go-to.
That's actually really interesting because me and Jacob had that conversation about how to make a chatterbait hunt, and I never understood, like, you just threw the Y out there. I used to fish a fluke on a chatterbait a bunch because I liked the way it darted. This is kind of like the clip thing we were talking. We were talking about clips on crankbaits earlier and why you'd use them and different reasons, but I didn't actually understand that actually stabilizes the bait. That makes a lot of sense because when I put like a big easy on a chatterbait, like it runs super true unless I'm like stroking it.
Right.
But if I put my little easy on there, like it's just like your dipper where it's like hunting back and forth and rolling, especially when I turn that tail up, dude.
So something cool you can do if you're like on a kind of a swim jig bite and you just got a chatterbait, but it's presentation that these swim jig fish don't see. Throw your chatterbait, put like a big, I've even put horny toads on there, man, or a Trixie shark. I'll cut it in half, big bulky, and it floats that chatterbait and it just reels, and it's really high. It's only a few inches under the surface. That's a really cool way to catch some chatterbait fish. And you see the strikes. It's like a modified, aggressive swim jig, right? So just under the surface, big bulky trailer, floats it up high.
Well, Ryan, I'm not going to hold you up. I want to stay dry. Thank you, dude. And once again, where can people find you if they want? And by the way, like, take a guide trip with this dude, or at least hit him up and talk about scheduling something for the future, because not only do you get the experience of being out on some of the most beautiful lakes in Northwest Alabama, much less the country, and there's giants out here, but Ryan fishes the pro circuit. He didn't mention that. He fishes the FLW Pro Circuit, and he's very articulate. He's able to communicate ideas, and oftentimes, it's tough to kind of communicate with a pro. They're big into fishing, but they can't talk about what they're doing, explain what you're doing. And if you watch this video, you see Ryan's on his game. So when you get out there on the boat and like on a guide trip, he's explaining the techniques. He's telling you why things are happening, how they're happening, when they're going to happen, what context is behind them happening. And like, not only do you get to catch the fish, you get that learning experience that you can apply to your home water too, which I think is super cool. Well, where can they, wow, Annie's kind of a trip. Dude, I told you there'd be something funny in the video. Well, where can they find more shenanigans, and where can they schedule a trip with you?
Man, so starting in about a week, I'm going to go back full-time guiding once this quarantine ends. Since I haven't guided officially, I've done a few trips here and there since like the last FLW Pro Circuit tournament, which was March 5th or 6th. And I did what I felt like was the responsible thing to do. A lot of my clients, dude, I had a guy coming from New York for a week. I said, dude, stay there. We'll make the trip up later. Like, you guys got a lot going on up there. Let's handle our business as a nation and focus on what we need to focus on. So I took the time to focus on me, which has been great. And I focused on myself, and I think I'm in a great spot to put you guys on fish. I have found a ton of fish for the upcoming trips. So for the lucky guys that get to take the trips with me before my next Pro Circuit event, go to alabamabassguide.com. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's albassguide_meme lord. I have a problem. I like the memes a lot, and I want to share with the group. So I share with my followers. They're on my story every morning, and I hope you enjoy that. If not, you don't gotta look at them. It's fine.
Make sure to follow Ryan. He's a cool dude, and like I said, he's a wealth of knowledge, especially on these TVA lakes. So, Bog, should we get out of the rain before these storms
I don't know.
come?
Look at this tan line I got already, Mikey.
Well, that's
Do you
proof.
think I've been fishing a
That's
lot?
proof that you put your work in, dude.
Work.
So if that doesn't convince you, you're unconvincible. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you got any questions for Ryan, either jump on his Instagram or drop them down in the comments box, and I'll be sure to forward them on to him. But thank you guys for supporting the channel. I hope you're staying safe during all this shenanigans and all that. Stay safe. Catch fish. It's the best thing that you can do to keep your head above water, and that's what it's all about. Keep the lines tight, boys. Peace.